In just a matter of minutes, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Democrats will be announcing the introduction of H.R. 1. It's called the For the People Act. It would expand voting access and more. Senate passage of the bill looks bleak, but this introduction does come at a critical time for voting rights in this country. Our Meet the Press team found that so far Republicans have proposed more than 250 laws in 45 states to limit mail-in, early in-person voting, and even election day voting. It adds up to the biggest push to reduce ballot access since the Jim Crow era. Stacey Abrams, who's credited with helping Democrats pick up Georgia's 2 Senate seats, put it like this.
We've got to remember that voter suppression is one part of the equation. One of the most pernicious parts of voter suppression is it convinces you it's not worth trying. And what is often dismissed as voter apathy is usually just despair. And so we have to focus on voter suppression, but we also have to build political infrastructure that actually talks to people where they are and repeatedly, because you're trying to undo sometimes generational distrust.
I want to bring in Tiffany Cross, host of the Cross Connection here on MSNBC, as well as Raychelle O'Neal. Raychelle worked on the staff of the late Congressman and civil rights icon John Lewis for more than 18 years. In fact, he recognized her in the Congressional Record back in 2017, saying this, quote, "Mr. Speaker, when I look at Raychelle O'Neal, I see the spirit of Barbara Jordan and the fire of Shirley Chisholm." The congressman was a fan, to say the least, of Raychelle. So, Raychelle, we'll start with you. What would Congressman Lewis, what would he be saying to the nation in this moment?
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate being here. If Congressman Lewis was here today and could speak, he would tell them exactly what the video showed. When something is not right, not just, not fair, that there's a moral obligation to do something and speak up and speak out. He would say, find a way to get in the way, get into trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble. He would tell all of his colleagues on both sides of the aisle that now is the time to do what is right for the good of the entire country. So as they're taking up these pieces of legislation, H.R. 1 and then also H.R. 4, the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Act of 2020, he would be excited, he would be elated, and he'd be happy. But he would definitely tell them now is the time to do what is right.
Tiffany, again, in just a matter of minutes here, we'll hear from Senator Chuck Schumer about the For the People Act. The hurdle to passing it puts the spotlight again squarely on the filibuster. And Politico explains the dynamics at play as this, quote, "Get rid of the filibuster or allow Republicans to disenfranchise millions of black and brown voters who put President Joe Biden in office." Senate Democrats may or may not agree with such a blunt framing of voting rights legislation, Tiffany, that's coming down the pike. But it's the reality that they face, because that's precisely how the party's progressive base is framing it for them. Again, this coming from Politico. So, Tiffany, black voters, especially black women, delivered Democrats the White House, delivered Democrats the Senate. Is this the thing? Is this the issue? Is this the bill that pushes Democrats to reconsider the way the filibuster is used?
If not now, when, Craig? So absolutely, this is something that the Senate Democrats need to take up. And you said some Senate Democrats may not believe this, and it really doesn't matter. It is what is. The fact of the matter is Senate Democrats would not have the power. Black voters deliver the power of the federal government to Democrats to exercise it. So if the fastest way to lose your power is to not recognize that you have it. And so when you have senators like Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, who are essentially vote 49 and vote 50 to maintain that very slim majority in Congress, the filibuster is going to be the nail in the coffin to the Democratic agenda, essentially. So if we can't pressure people, to kill the filibuster in the name of voting rights, it says something about the fact that we're over 50 years later still fighting for what John Lewis got his skull cracked on the Edmund Pettus Bridge for. And we need to keep that at the forefront of this conversation. Look at some of the bills. So we want to be clear. There's H1N1 and then there's the Voting Rights Act, right? These are two pieces of legislation. But some of the bills that are taking place at the state level, Craig, the voting suppression bill in Georgia, says that you cannot give someone food and water if they are waiting in line to vote. We know exactly who that attacks. They are shameless in going after Black voters. And the thing is, they wouldn't have this power if the voters of Georgia had not flipped the Senate. And that's what this is about. And we need to keep calling it that, call a thing, and keep the pressure on Senate Democrats to support killing the filibuster.
Yeah, and we got a preview of where the president stands on changing or ending the filibuster. This is what President Biden just said in a new interview.
I don't think you have to eliminate the filibuster. You have to do it what it used to be when I first got to the Senate, and that is that a filibuster, you had to stand up and command the floor. Once you stopped talking, you lost that, and someone could move in and say, I moved the question of. So you got to work for the filibuster.
So you're for that reform. You're for bringing back the talking filibuster.
I am. That's what it was supposed to be.
Just put a hold on it. That's it.
Yeah. It almost is getting to the point where democracy's having a hard time functioning.
Sounds like splitting the baby, Tiffany. In your view, is that enough?
It's not enough. They need to kill the filibuster. I mean, that's the bottom line. There is no way that you're ever going to be able to get this level of consensus. They're being loyal to a party that is still overwhelmingly devoted to Trump. And so you cannot negotiate with crazy. You cannot negotiate with sycophants. You cannot negotiate with white supremacist sympathizers. And that's what's happening here. So as long as they're holding up that part of the agenda, you have to wonder, Craig, midterms are right around the corner. If not now, when? What did people, if we go out and convince people to vote again, it's a big hurdle to clear if Democrats themselves won't give you something to fight for, won't give you some sort of encouragement. Kill the filibuster.
Rachel, I mean, how critical is this legislation in your eyes?
This is the most critical piece of legislation that they could take up at this particular time regarding the voters, because this is what Mr. Lewis gave his entire life from his young, early age days until he took his last breath in his 80s. He fought for people to be able to recognize, understand, and know that they had the right to get out and vote, to choose their representation so that they can do what's good for the will of the people. So it's extremely critical. And I agree with Tiffany, kill the filibuster. It's time. We saw what happened when we had the House, the Senate, and the presidency under President Obama initially. We need to learn from that lesson, and we need to take a page from the book of Republicans and, just go ahead and do what has to be done for the people. It really is just that simple.
Rachel O'Neal, Tiffany Cross, thank you both.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.